just find a way. Just find a way to keep doing what you want to do. And so that's what drives me.
My inborn passion for myself and my country.
We are going to be trendsetters, we're going to be the trailblazers, we're going to change things.
Designed to be this woman who should at least make a difference in someone's life.
Entrepreneur, activist, tech-savvy computer whiz kid, a man of many hats. Born in 1992 July, he lost his father at a young age. He describes his childhood as a happy one despite growing up in difficult, challenging conditions.
You can say Andrew is an entrepreneur, Andrew is an activist, environmental, social. Andrew is happy, and I just love being around people and traveling very much, traveling and photography. Yeah. I was born in July the 2nd, 1992, so I'm 24 years old, turning 25. Yeah. My childhood, I'll describe it as happy, not because there were no challenges, there were a lot of challenges. For 1 year, 4 months after I was born, my dad died. So it was a very difficult period for my family by the time I was born. And my dad was the sole bread winner of the family. My mom hadn't completed her school education. She dropped out in grade 9. So it was something which was very hard. And my elder siblings were still in high school. So it was something which was very hard for my family to cope with. How are they going to keep the whole family? And we were 7 of us. So it became a very challenging thing for my mom. But I say happy because with all the challenges which we were going through, my mom never encouraged self-pity. Yes, we didn't have a lot to share with the world. 7 years later, I think, after Dad's death, we were cut out for power for, I think, which amounted to close to 3 years. So we were living in the dark candle and all that for close to 3 years. 60% of the food which we ate, Mom farmed it herself, so we lived basically on the farm. And the other 40%, my brothers even had to not concentrate on their higher education thing. They had to focus on providing for the family, so they became the breadwinners of the family, so that me and the younger siblings, which were very young at the time, we could have a better life, so to say. And in all this, my mom always emphasized on education. One fact, I think she realized that education was key for us to get out of the situation which we were going through. So, she would always say, when I didn't want to go to school, she would go like, until you cry, even if you cry blood, you are going to school. So it was something which, when I remember back then and the tricks which I used to do, it's something which is very funny. But despite the challenges, I remember the nice time, the good times, sitting around the table with my siblings, joking about how we are going to go green because we're always eating vegetables from Mom's farming. So it's really a nice childhood. Like the challenges don't even feel like there were challenges because I had love surrounded by me. And growing up with a single parent, I didn't feel that because my siblings were my second parents. They treated me like they were my mothers and fathers, and they cared for me. So I can say my childhood I was loved.
Andrew Banda says he loves computers and is hoping to finish his studies, though he says he will not be able to be taught anything new that he doesn't already know.
Currently debating about what to do. I paused my college education because of entrepreneurship. I'm looking at myself as the next Bill Gates. I have my aunties on my back saying, no, finish your qualification first, but it's something which I'll do. I did my primary education at Namando Basic School, 1 to grade 7, and then I passed and I went to Lilanda Basic School. And then in grade 9, 2 of my subjects went missing. Which made me fail to reach the cutoff point by 6 points. So I was devastated, so to say. I was very devastated, and I did want to go to any school where my friends were going. It was very, failure for me was not something which I was familiar with. So I decided to go to a school which was not very known, which was not meant to be a high school. It was actually a basic school offering open secondary education during the afternoon. So that's where I was like, okay, I'll save out my sentence there. I'm a failure. I just have to go there. I shouldn't meet my friends. I shouldn't talk about school and all those. So, but I managed to finish my grade 12 with fair results, I'd say. And all because there was one person who really helped me. Growing up, science was in me, but I think he really brought it out. I don't even remember his name. I've forgotten the teacher's name. But I remember what he made me feel. He made me feel like that wasn't failure at all. I can do it again. I need to bounce back. And, after passing through grade 10 without studying, just going there and just sitting like that, grade 11, I really picked up and just started studying, my grade 10 started in grade 11. That's when I was truly in high school, and that's when I worked hard and I did all that. I passed. I wanted to study geology, but my results couldn't enable me to go into School of Natural Sciences at Onza. So I was naturally good at doing techie things. So someone was like, why don't you do computer science? I was like, I don't want to study something I'm good at. I want to study something I'm not good at. But I was like, okay, let me give it a try. And I did it. I must say there were a lot of adventures. I was happy with it. And I haven't finished it yet. I'm remaining with a year. I'm still thinking whether I should go back or not. But mostly when people ask me, why haven't you gone back? I always say, I've learned what they're supposed to teach me. I don't think they can teach me anything new. The only reason why I would go back is because I would want that paper, and to me that's not a good enough reason. So that's why I'm still contemplating about that. But yeah, I'm doing other studies as well at the meantime, computer related.
His entry into Barefeet was through his sister. Andrew says he was bored and needed something to keep him busy. His love for computers made him a great asset in the organization.
I found myself in Barefeet because I was bored. My sister worked here, still works here. Back then when Barefeet was still small. Well, it's been small for like 5 years until it really started going big. So she told me, like, hey, you're good with techie stuff, so can't you come and volunteer and help us solve out our techie challenges? And I was like, volunteer? That's for free, right? I don't want to do that because by then I remember I had like 20 movies to watch through, so, didn't cross my mind. And then a week later, those movies really burned through, so I was like, is that volunteer position still open? And that's how I found myself into Barefeet. I've always loved what they do, but I never really wanted to get involved because my sister was working for them since 2007, a year after they were found. So I started working with them, and they were putting together a group of young people to be advocates and change leaders. So while they were doing that, they were like, hey, if you're interested, you can be part of the group. So I was like, okay, why not? Let me give it a try. So it was a bunch of young people around the same age who were being brought together, taught different skills, theater, and to use those tools to bring about change in our communities. And it's been a very good ride. speaking mostly on the Barefoot Children's Council side, it's very good because it taught me that whenever you want to bring about change somewhere, involve the people in that area to bring about that change. That way it carries more impact. So what they were talking about, it affected me, but because someone else was doing it for me, I didn't want to do it. But once I got involved, it was like, yeah, I want this change actually. You know, it didn't touch me then, but now it touches me. Actually, it does touch me. Actually, it did touch me, but I thought it didn't touch me. So it's been a very, very great experience. And with the Barefoot Children's Council, we've brought about different initiatives to tackle some of the social issues happening in our community. And climate change has always been a huge part. And then with Barefoot, of course, they're all about theater. So it's something I always tell people, like, Barefoot taught me creativity. It's because they use theater, and to me, theater is the language. It's a true language of creativity. So being around them, no matter what I do in my entrepreneurship, in my schoolwork, my profession, you know, it inspires me to think more and to use things differently. So, and 3 years after being with them, and I started school, Adam, who was then the artistic director, approached me. Was like, you're good with computers, you've been with us for a long time and you understand the process. Wouldn't you like to be our social media guy? You can do part-time and you can as well help you with your to pay your the tuition fees. So I was like, yeah. And so I really love that part because it really helped me. And because although we've had our education, whatnot, the challenges of financing for education in my family hasn't gone away. So in my first year of college, my sister was sponsoring me, trying here and there. And then second year, I started sponsoring myself. The money I was getting from Barefoot, paying for my own tuition fees. Yeah.
Working for Barefoot has given him and many other young people a sense of worth and belonging, which is what many young people today need to be reminded.
The projects in Barefoot have done a lot, really, a lot. And I'll take it from my perspective. You know, whenever Barefoot works with the children that he works with, it gives them self-confidence, self-worth. They realize that, hey, I'm worth something. Hey, I should do this. Why am I waiting for someone else to do this? So they give people a sense of worth and identity. They give people a platform, the children especially. And this is what Barefoot has done for me, because growing up, I was a very reserved person. I used to think what I wanted to do was be a bank manager. I didn't even know what to study to be a bank manager, but I wanted to be a bank manager. And by 24, get married with the woman of my dreams, who by then was the next door neighbor. Hope she's not watching. So I was a pretty reserved person. I was very shy. I had a lot of ideas, but I was very shy to bring them out. I thought no one would listen. I thought they didn't matter. I just wanted to, and later on, I just wanted to be a scientist, work in a lab, discover the cure of AIDS or something, but just stay in the background and just, don't be seen. But I realized after working with Barefoot, and what Barefoot does to everyone is they give you that worth and identity to say what I have to say does matter and what I have to say deserves to be heard. So generally, Barefoot does this to the community, to everyone it works with, to the children especially.
Young people are told to dream and to believe in their dreams. Andrew is driven by a character whose invention changed the world. He hopes to leave an impact as big as that, or at least close enough.
Sir Isaac Newton, what he did. It was in grade 7 I read about Sir Isaac Newton. He's one who discovered gravity and all that. And then I was sitting there, I was like, I really want to do something which I'll be remembered by for all time. just like Sir Isaac Newton. And from then onwards, I've been wanting to find that thing. And in my view, it was, maybe finding the cure for AIDS. I'll be remembered forever. It's a world problem. And then growing up, interacting with Barefoot and interacting with a lot of social organization and young people, it becomes much bigger than you. You say, okay, what drives me is I need to do my part. I really need to do my part, because if all of us are doing our part, the wheel of change will be always happening. What happens when we don't have change is when you don't do your part, you think you're not part of the whole group. So what drives me really is I need to do my part. Even if I'm not remembered, but I would know that part which I did really added something to the whole pie, because even if the person who, even Sir Isaac Newton, he had people who were in the background who helped him arrive to where he arrived. So even if I'm not the one at the top who receives that credit, I'll know that I really did something which mattered. I really did something which made a difference. So that, I think, to me, that's what drives me.
The contribution of young people is an immeasurable resource, as they are an important piece to the puzzle. Andrew calls on youths to take part and have their voices heard.
Young people really need to take part in the development of their communities, their country, or wherever they are, because they're a very important piece of the puzzle in the wheel of change. If that puzzle is not there, change will not reach its full extent. What young people need to realize is that everyone fits somewhere and everyone has a role to play for our community, our country to develop. So if they think it's someone else's problem, they're lying to themselves. We need everyone. We need them to take part, because if they don't take part, it won't move on. I'm just one person. But if there's 2 million like me in our country, you see the difference. If 2 million do one tiny little thing, it means that will amount to a lot of change. So young people need to realize that they're a very, very important piece of the puzzle in development, and they need to take part. I don't know if there will be that person who will build that business which would support our economy. I don't know if there will be the doctor or the scientist who discovers the cure for AIDS. I don't know whether there will be the people who will be demanding for social justice and social accountability to our leaders so that we see growth in change. I don't know what they'll be able to do, or maybe they'll move us to the moon. I don't know. But they won't know either if they don't take part, and we need them to take part. We need everyone to take part. Everyone fits somewhere, and they just have to find that place and do it. Yeah.
With the call to play a role in society comes the challenge of being accepted and your contribution being taken serious. This tech-savvy young man advises young people to learn, ask questions, and never give up.
I've had a lot of challenges, and there is that challenge where the other people will always look at you as you know nothing, you really know nothing. And I've also had the challenges of young people don't really believe in themselves. In fact, for the past 4 months or so, I've been talking to this young lady who's given up on life, and I've been like, okay, do this, do that, and she's just given up on life. She's like, I can't, I don't want, I'm not good at anything, I'll fail. But she hasn't tried anything. So as young people, we need to realize that we have an internal power in us. That challenge will always be there. We'll fail, but failure builds us. And as young people, when we meet the other people who are like, you don't know anything, just go like, okay, yeah, I don't know anything, so teach me, they might teach you something which you already know, but I believe there's always a lesson in something, and you will learn something. So as young people, we must be willing to learn, and the other people will be more willing to teach.
Andrew Banda says Bare Feet has helped him to listen and allow other views around him, even those that seem out of his frame of reference.
Barefeet has taken me into an area where I always want to learn. I always want to give something, even if I'm biased towards it, I want to give it a benefit of a doubt. Maybe it's not what I think. So he has given me that. I remember when I first started Barefeet, or Adam McGuigan, the founder, and one of the founders and artistic director of Barefeet, then said something which I really disagreed with. I was like, no. And then he was like, Andrew, you haven't traveled, no wonder you're not saying yes to this. I was like, no. But I did travel, and I won't say the thing, but I still say no. But he taught me something. He taught me, no matter how much you disagree with something, listen. Maybe you might be wrong. Listen to the facts. Learn, and then make up your mind. Because if you are blind to the facts and you just close off your mind and you give in to the biasness, you'll be going by life not living to its fullest potential. So Barefeet has taught me to be welcoming to ideas, even the ideas I do not agree with. So that's, I think, the best place Barefeet has taken me to.
In helping street kids and vulnerable children through arts, themes, costumes, festivals, dance, and music, the Barefeet team sends different messages to children and society in reminding each one that they have an important role to play to make society a better place.
How we put up the carnival, how we put up the festivals, how we put up performances, it's a really team effort. And it's really, really painful because I'll give from a perspective of one which I was directly involved in. That was the making of a play called Wangari and the Seven Wonders. We was talking about Wangari Maathai and her environmental education impact in Africa. So we were trying to educate people who are coming to the festival about climate change. So I remember the pain of rolling down the date in your favorite clothes, and you're like, why am I doing this? But you're rolling down because it was part of rehearsal, and you're just rolling down. I remember the heat of standing outside the sun and rehearsing to perfect your lines. But I also remember the joy of when I was actually doing the play. In fact, right at the end when everyone just started clapping for us. So I remember that joy above all everything which we did. So it's really usually a team effort. We come together, we throw ideas around, especially when we're getting ready for a performance, the facilitators will come together, throw around ideas, act them out and see if they work, mix a few dances here and there, what dialogue are they going to use, what should be in, if it's a play, what is going to be in the message. And if we're organizing a festival, we'll be like, okay, with our theme, what kind of things do we want to show off? For example, we had a theme was jungle once, and then so around jungle, it was more about the animals in the jungle, the trees in the jungle, so we'd make costumes and paintings based on that, and then also tell the children to make their costumes around those themes. So it's always a group effort, and at the end of the day, you'll be like, yes. It's always frustrating during the actual thing, but funny enough, after it's passed, you miss the frustration. You'll be like, oh, I'm so bored. I was so busy. I was sleeping at 02, waking up at 06, but now I'm so bored. I need that excitement back in my life. So it's something like that, yeah.
Andrew makes a call to young people to find their passion, evaluate their lives, and focus on what is important.
My message to the young people is find your worth and stick to it. Leave out all the things which don't matter. Like for example, about more than a year ago, I gave up drinking. Not because I I received Jesus as the Son of God, which most people will give as an example, because I came to the conclusion that I could not afford to drink. So I was like, okay, this is purely an economical reason. I cannot afford to drink, so why am I still drinking? So I gave it up. I was like, okay, till the next time I'm very rich to spend 400 kwacha in a night and not regret it the following morning. So basically, I gave up drinking. So I want young people to also evaluate their lives that way. What is it that which is pulling them down, which they need to give up? Because I would receive mostly these things from young people saying, I drink to forget. But I've got news for them. The challenges which you go through, they are real. And you forgetting them is not going to help. In fact, you forgetting them is the reason why we continue to suffer through these challenges. Because one, we don't need you to forget. We need you to remember, and we need you to fight these challenges so that you can solve these challenges and we don't have the challenges anymore. You are a very important piece of the puzzle. So please don't forget. Remember. And if there's something which you need to give up for the sake of your dream, give it up. It's painful, yes, but it will save you 10 times more to your benefit after you've done that.